They don't come back because they suddenly realized your worth. They come back because your absence exposes theirs. The moment you stop chasing, stop explaining, stop trying to fix what they kept breaking, something shifts in their mind. Your silence hits them harder than anything you ever said out loud, because now they're facing the one thing they never expected, a version of you they can't control. People don't miss you when you're available. They miss you when you walk away with your self-respect intact. They miss the attention they were fed on. They miss the validation they were used to. They miss the power they had. And when you stop giving them what they took for granted, their ego feels the loss before their heart does. Your detachment forces them to sit with the emptiness they used to fill with your presence. It forces them to question their choices. It forces them to face themselves, something they've avoided their entire life. They don't come back because they've changed. They come back because you have. Let's break down the psychology behind why they return, what your silence does in their mind, and how to handle their comeback without losing the power you finally gained. They don't come back because they've grown. They come back because losing access to you disrupts the identity they built while having you. A person who took you for granted operates on one core assumption: you'll always be there. Your love, your attention, your effort, your presence, they believed it was guaranteed. The moment you detach, that illusion shatters. Here's what actually happens inside their psychology when you move on. 1. Their ego takes the first hit. People are addicted to the idea of being wanted. When you stop wanting them, it creates an ego wound. Why aren't they chasing me? Why aren't they hurting? Why are they fine without me? Your silence becomes a direct threat to their self-image. 2. They lose the control they used to have. When someone knows they can pull away, return, disrespect, or be inconsistent and still have access to you, they feel secure in the wrong way. Your detachment switches the power dynamic instantly. Now they're the uncertain one. 3. Their nervous system panics when the pattern breaks. They were used to the emotional feedback loop. Their distance triggered your effort. Their coldness triggered your warmth. Their inconsistency triggered your explanation. When that loop stops, their mind goes into withdrawal, just like any addiction. 4. They start remembering the version of you they lost. Absence romanticizes you. Distance cleans up the memories. People suddenly focus on the good you brought and forget the things they caused. Your silence creates nostalgia they can't escape. 5. They fear being replaced. Nothing wakes someone up like the possibility that you've moved on emotionally, mentally, or physically. It's not always love that pulls them back. It's the fear of being irrelevant. 6. They finally feel the consequences of their actions, not because you punished them, but because you stopped participating. You removed the benefits. You removed the validation. You removed the emotional supply. This is why they return when you move on, not because they've had a deep revelation, but because detachment exposes everything your love protected them from. And if you want to understand the deeper emotional mechanics behind why people come back, why detachment hits so hard, and why silence flips the power dynamic, remember to download the audiobook of Surviving the Toxic Bond. The ebook pairs with it if you prefer to read while you listen. Download link is in my bio. The real reason they return is brutally simple. Your absence forces them to finally feel what your presence once protected them from. Your silence does more damage than your words ever could. When you detach, you activate psychological pressure they never expected, the kind that doesn't come from anger, but from absence. Here's what your silence triggers inside them. 1. Uncertainty, the emotion they fear most. People who took you for granted rely on predictable patterns, your effort, your reassurance, your patience. When those disappear, their nervous system starts scanning for answers. Did I lose them? Why aren't they chasing? What changed? Uncertainty destabilizes them. Fast. 2. Curiosity that turns into obsession. Silence creates gaps in their mind. Gaps invite imagination. Imagination amplifies emotion. Now they're replaying old moments, rereading old messages, checking your page, wondering who has your attention. Your silence becomes the loudest thing in their life. And 3, ego collapse. They believed they mattered enough for you to wait, chase, or try again. When you don't, it cracks the image they have of themselves. Your silence becomes a mirror, showing them a version of themselves they don't want to face. Unimportant, replaceable, forgettable. Nothing hits harder. 4, fear of replacement. This is the core trigger. People don't fear losing you. They fear someone else getting a version of you they no longer have access to. Your silence forces them to imagine you laughing with someone new, moving on, giving your energy elsewhere. That fear eats at them. 5, emotional memory resurfaces. Your absence brings back the good moments, the comfort, the connection, the attention, the way you showed up. They don't remember what they did wrong. They remember what they miss. Distance rewrites memory. 6, loss of control hits their nervous system. They can't predict you. They can't influence you. They can't read you. And when someone loses control, they chase, not out of love, but to regain emotional certainty. 7, they realize your presence was a privilege. When you were available, they treated you like an option. When you detach, they realize you were the stability, the attention, the emotional supply they thought they could replace. Silence forces them to see the value they ignored. 8, they feel the consequences they never thought would come. Not punishment, reality. Your distance reveals the truth. They never had as much power as they believed. This is why silence is stronger than confrontation. Confrontation gives them a role. Silence gives them a void, and people crumble in voids. Your absence rewrites their entire narrative, not because of what you did, but because of what you stopped doing. They always come back when you move on. But how you respond determines whether you repeat the cycle or end it with authority. This section is about keeping your power intact. Here's the blueprint. 1, don't reward their return. If you react with excitement, long messages, or emotional energy, you erase all the psychological progress your silence created. They need to feel that your world didn't pause without them. Your tone should be calm, grounded, steady, never eager. 2, don't bring up the past first. If you start explaining, questioning, or reopening old wounds, you signal that you've been waiting. Let them reveal why they came back. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them initiate accountability. Your stillness creates truth. 3, keep your responses measured. Short but not rude. Clear but not emotional. Neutral but not cold. When you communicate from identity instead of emotion, they feel the shift, and it destabilizes everything they expected. 4, never let them return to the role they once had. The old dynamic is dead. If they try to slip back into old patterns, inconsistency, disappearing acts, breadcrumbs, you shut the door immediately. Your boundaries must be stronger than their nostalgia. 5, don't try to teach them a lesson. You're not their therapist, and you're not their closure. Your job isn't to make them understand. Your job is to maintain the standard that protects you. Silence and stability teach better than any speech. 6, let them feel the new version of you, not through performance, through consistency, through calmness, through unbothered energy, through the identity shift that happened while they were gone. Your growth should be obvious without you saying a word. 7, make them earn access slowly, not as manipulation, as self-respect. Access must match behavior. They don't get closeness because they returned. They get closeness if they show consistency, effort, honesty, and alignment. Your standard is the test. 8, stay prepared to walk away again. This is what keeps your power. People only respect what they can lose. If their return doesn't meet your standard, you detach instantly, without anger, without drama, without explanation, just like before. This is how you handle their comeback without collapsing the progress you made. You don't punish them. You don't chase them. You don't over-explain. You don't return to the old version of yourself. You simply stand as the version of you that your pain created. And let their behavior determine whether they stay or go. Because real power is not in getting them back. It's in deciding whether they deserve you now. If you're dealing with someone who only shows up when you detach, understand this. Their return isn't a compliment. It's a reflection of how much power your absence carries. And if you want to go deeper into the psychology of detachment, emotional withdrawal, and rebuilding your identity after toxic cycles, dive into the audiobook of Surviving the Toxic Bond. If you want to study while you listen, the ebook pairs perfectly. The download link is in my bio. If this message brought clarity, sharpen the algorithm. Like the video, drop a comment, subscribe and share it so more people learn how to hold their power when someone comes back. Stand firm, stay sovereign, protect your peace.